There is a pattern in your life, Sagittarius. You may have noticed it before. You may have pushed it aside, moved to a new city, started a new job, stepped into a new relationship, or simply told yourself that this time things would be different. And for a while they were. For a while, the change of scenery was enough to make the pattern invisible. But then slowly it came back. A little different on the outside but deeply familiar on the inside. The same emotional landscape in a new location. The same type of conflict wearing a new face. The same crossroads, the same hesitation, the same outcome. And if you are honest with yourself right now, you can feel it. Something has returned that you recognize from before. This time, you are not brushing past it as fast as you usually do. Something has made you pause. Maybe it is because you are tired. Not tired of life and not tired of trying, but tired of circling the same mountain and finding yourself at the base again. Maybe it is because you are finally wise enough to see what is actually happening behind the surface of things, to look past the new details and recognize the familiar shape beneath them. Or maybe it is because some deeper part of you knows that this time the pattern does not get to win. Sagittarius is a sign of tremendous courage and forward momentum. But sometimes the bravest thing an archer can do is turn around, look at the arrow that missed, and ask honestly what went wrong before drawing the bow again. That is what this is. Not a repeat of failure. Not proof that you cannot change. It is a second chance disguised as a difficult moment, asking you whether you are ready to handle it differently this time. The signs you are about to hear are not accusations. They are mirrors. And the courage to look clearly into a mirror is one of the most powerful things a Sagittarius can do. Because what you can see, you can change. And you are about to see everything. Sign 1. You are repeating a relationship dynamic you have experienced before. The faces are different. The setting is different. But if you remove all the surface details and look at the shape of what is happening, you have been here before. There is the same sense of being pulled in before you are ready. The same slow erosion of the independence you treasure. The same pattern of giving more than you receive, or maybe holding back more than the situation deserves, or perhaps the same kind of emotional wall going up right when real closeness was possible. Whatever the specific texture of it is, the shape is familiar, and somewhere beneath your ability to name it, you know it. Sagittarius is one of the most deeply relational signs in the zodiac. Even though this surprises people who see only your love of freedom, you care enormously. You are generous with your heart, your time, your enthusiasm. You light up around people who fascinate you. You offer yourself fully to conversations and experiences that feel alive. But you have a deep and understandable fear of losing yourself in someone else. And that fear, when left unexamined, creates its own kind of pattern in how you connect and how you withdraw. It shows up as distance when closeness is available. It shows up as sudden exits from relationships that are getting too real. It shows up as choosing partners who cannot truly commit, because an uncommitted partner can never truly hold you. And if no one truly holds you, you never have to risk being truly known. Or perhaps your pattern runs the other way entirely. Perhaps you fall too fast, attach too completely, give too much of yourself before you understand who the person actually is, and then feel the walls close in before you understand how you got there. Whatever the specific shape of the dynamic, if you recognize it right now, that recognition is not a verdict. It is a turning point. Seeing the pattern clearly is not the same as being trapped in it. In fact, the moment of clear seeing is the first moment when something genuinely different becomes possible. You are seeing it. And that means you are standing exactly at the threshold where change lives. The pattern is repeating because it was never fully resolved. Not because you are broken, because you are still learning. And this time, with your eyes open, you have a real chance to choose a different ending. Sign 2. You keep arriving at the same emotional dead end. There is a particular feeling you know well. A feeling of hitting a wall inside yourself, a kind of flatness or shutdown that arrives when things get to a certain level of intensity or a certain kind of pressure. On the outside, people see your optimism, your humor, your expansiveness. Sagittarius is known for the warm light you bring into any room, the way your enthusiasm lifts everyone around you, the sense that wherever you are, something good is probably about to happen. But on the inside, when the pressure reaches a certain point, something in you goes quiet in a way that is not quite peace. And you have been there before. You recognize the texture of this particular kind of stuck. Maybe it shows up as a sudden flatness after a period of excitement, the morning after the high when the world looks slightly gray. Maybe it is the feeling that nothing quite matters, even when everything on paper should be maturing enormously. Or perhaps it is a low, persistent frustration that you cannot talk yourself out of, even using all the philosophical tools you usually rely on to reframe difficulty and find the larger meaning. The emotional dead end you keep arriving at is not a sign that you are emotionally limited. It is a sign that there is unprocessed material beneath the surface that your natural tendency to move forward has not fully addressed. Sagittarius can travel more miles in a lifetime than any other sign. But geography has never been the issue. The issue is whether the inner landscape is getting the same attention as the outer one. Whether the philosophical questions you apply to the world are also being applied with honesty to yourself. Right now, you are at a familiar emotional location. Do not leave again without looking around carefully. There is something here that needs your attention before you can move into genuinely new territory. Every time you have left this place without examining it, the road eventually looped you back. This time, stop. Look. Ask the harder questions. The ones about what you actually feel when you are not performing optimism. The ones about what you actually need that you have been too proud or too independent to admit. The answers are here, and they are the key to breaking a cycle that has cost you more than you know. If what you are hearing feels accurate, know that it could happen if you applied this energy consistently for 21 consecutive days. That is the 21-day challenge pinned at the top of this channel. It is built around daily guidance, focused direction, and real momentum. If you are tired of staying in the same cycle, that structure is exactly what has been missing. Sign 3, you have walked away from something important before you gave it a full chance. Think about the opportunities that did not fully develop, the relationships that ended just before they could deepen into something real, the projects that got 80% of the way there, and then quietly dissolved when the initial excitement faded and what remained was the slower, harder work of completion. The paths that started with fire and enthusiasm and then, somewhere along the way, stalled out and were eventually abandoned for something that felt newer and more alive. Sagittarius has more raw potential than almost any sign in the zodiac. Jupiter gives you vision, enthusiasm, and an extraordinary capacity to begin things. You can launch anything. You can ignite a room, start a movement, inspire a team, begin a creative project with a force and originality that leaves people breathless. But beginnings are Jupiter's specialty. Completion is a different skill, and it is one that your nature sometimes resists, not out of laziness and not out of cowardice, but because staying in one place long enough to see something through to its full conclusion can feel like confinement to a sign that was born to keep moving. The pattern of not finishing is not a character flaw. It is a tendency born from your gifts. The same love of freedom that makes you magnetic and alive is the same quality that sometimes pulls you out the door before the work is done. The moment something becomes routine, the moment it requires sustained effort without the constant novelty of beginning, a small voice in you starts looking for the exit. And that voice can be very convincing. Right now, something is asking you to notice this pattern with fresh honesty. What specifically have you left before it was finished? What would have happened if you had stayed? It is not about regret. Regret is not useful, and Sagittarius knows this instinctively. It is about identifying where your threshold is, that specific point at which things get difficult enough or repetitive enough that your instinct says run. Because on the other side of that threshold, consistently and without exception, is where the real reward usually lives. The most important things in your life are not going to come easily. They will require you to stay past the point where it feels exciting. They will need the part of you that has not been fully engaged before. And here is the thing. That part of you is ready even if it is unfamiliar. Sign 4. Your financial pattern has cycled back to a familiar place. There is something about your relationship with money that has a rhythm to it, a pattern that repeats itself across different chapters and circumstances, and lately that rhythm has brought you back to a place you recognize. Maybe it is the same kind of scarcity that arrived before after a period of abundance, the feast and famine cycle that has characterized your financial life more than once. Maybe it is the same type of overspending that tends to happen when you are excited or restless, when optimism runs ahead of arithmetic and you invest in a vision before the foundation is solid. Or maybe it is the same resistance to structure and financial planning that keeps you free in the short term but costs you stability in the long run. Sagittarius and money have a complex and fascinating relationship. Jupiter rules your sign, which means abundance is genuinely part of your nature. You have a talent for attracting it, for manifesting through sheer optimism and generous energy. People give to you because you give so freely. Resources find you because you are open to them in a way that closed people never are. But Jupiter also rules expansion without limits, and that same quality can make it difficult to hold on to what arrives. The good news, the genuinely important news, is that the awareness you are developing right now, this recognition of the cycle, is the most powerful thing that has ever happened to your relationship with money. Because what you can see, you can change. You are not trapped in this cycle. You are at a decision point within it. What needs to shift is not just a budget or a single behavior, but a deeper belief about what you deserve to have and whether you are allowed to build something lasting rather than brilliant but brief. You were not meant to always start over. You were not meant to always be beginning. There is a version of Sagittarius abundance that is not just generous but genuinely stable. Not just inspiring but truly held. A version where what you attract is also what you build with, where the generosity that is so native to your sign comes from a place of genuine solidity, rather than the reckless hope that more will always arrive in time. That version of financial reality is possible for you, but it will require you to treat money not as something that flows through but as something you are allowed to build with, keep, and grow. Sign 5. You are exhausted in a way that does not come from doing too much. The tiredness you feel right now is not physical. You might sleep and wake up still carrying it. It does not improve with rest or time off or a change of scenery or any of the usual remedies. It is a bone-deep weariness that comes from carrying something that you have been carrying for too long without putting it down. Something emotional, something unresolved, something that asks for your attention every time you are quiet enough to hear it, and that quietly drains your reserves even when you are not consciously aware of it. This specific kind of exhaustion is common for Sagittarius when a pattern is near its breaking point. Your sign can sustain enormous energy when you are moving towards something meaningful. You are one of the most energetically generative signs there is, capable of inspiring not just yourself but everyone around you with the force of your optimism and your genuine belief in what is possible. But when you have been recycling the same emotional cycle, facing the same unresolved tension, making the same choices and arriving at the same outcomes over and over across months or years, even your considerable reserves begin to run low. What you are tired of is not your life. You are tired of the version of your life where you keep arriving at the same place no matter how far you travel to get somewhere new. Tired of the gap between the expansive life you believe is possible and the recurring smallness of the same old limitations. Tired of the effort of maintaining the optimism in the face of the same disappointments. That exhaustion is valid, and it is useful, because this kind of tired is the kind that finally makes you willing to do the deeper work. The work that is not about going somewhere new, but about becoming someone genuinely different inside. The work that cannot be accomplished by changing your address or your relationship or your career, but only by sitting still long enough to understand what needs to actually change within yourself. When you are tired enough to stop running, you finally get still enough to see clearly. And right now, in this particular quality of stillness, is exactly where the breakthrough lives. Sign 6. Something that felt resolved has resurfaced. You thought you had dealt with it. You may have done real work on it, had the difficult conversation, made the painful decision, moved through what felt like a genuine resolution. You may have even celebrated the closure, felt the relief of having finally worked through something significant. And then, over time, in a new context or a new relationship or a new circumstance, it is back. Not exactly the same, but familiar enough that you know what you are looking at. The return of something you thought was finished is one of the most disorienting experiences available to a human being. It makes you question whether your previous work meant anything at all, whether resolution is even possible, whether you are condemned to carry certain things forever. But this is not the right interpretation, and Sagittarius, your philosophical instinct knows it. The return is not evidence that the resolution failed. It is evidence that the resolution was real, but that it was not complete. Think of it like a wound that healed over the surface before the deeper layer had fully recovered. The surface closure was genuine. You dealt with what was visible, and that was real progress, necessary and valuable. But there is a layer underneath that was not yet ready to be seen or addressed at the time. Maybe you were not ready. Maybe the circumstances did not yet support that level of depth. Maybe the specific relationship or situation needed more time to reveal the full extent of what needed healing. It is ready now. The fact that it has come back is not a sign that you failed. It is a sign that you are now capable of going deeper than you were before. The earlier work was not wasted. Every bit of it prepared you for this moment. It gave you enough foundation to handle the next level of what needs to be resolved. Do not recoil from this return. Do not tell yourself that all your work amounted to nothing. Instead, get genuinely curious. Ask what aspect of this situation you have not fully examined. Ask what you were not ready to face before that you might be ready for now. Because the resolution you are about to reach this time will be the kind that actually holds, the kind that changes not just your behavior but the underlying belief that created the behavior in the first place. If this message is resonating with your sign right now, trust that it is not a coincidence. When the universe wants to speak to you, it sends exactly the right signal at exactly the right moment. And you are here because you needed to hear this today. Your support, whether as a subscriber or as a member of this community, is what keeps these messages alive. The ones that touch hearts, awaken minds, and transform lives. If this video has been making sense to you, drop in the comments the day you were born. Let us keep going. Sign 7. You have been telling yourself the same story about why things did not work. There is a narrative you have been carrying, a version of events that makes sense of the things that have not gone the way you hoped. Maybe it is the story about how a certain person let you down, how a certain opportunity was taken from you unfairly, how circumstances conspired against you at a critical moment. And there is truth in that narrative. There always is. You did not invent the difficulties. The people who failed you did fail you. The circumstances that blocked you were real. But there may also be a part of the narrative that has quietly become a shield, a way of protecting yourself from a harder truth that would require more of you. A truth about your own choices, your own patterns, the ways in which you participated in outcomes you would rather attribute entirely to external forces. Not because you are to blame for everything, but because your full accounting includes your role in what happened, and that accounting is where your actual power lives. Sagittarius is deeply honest. It is one of your most admirable qualities. You have a low tolerance for pretense, and you can see through self-deception in others with remarkable clarity. But the one place where your honesty sometimes has a blind spot is in the story you tell yourself about yourself. The narrative about why you are the way you are, why certain things never seem to work, why you keep arriving at the same place despite your best intentions and genuine efforts. It is worth examining that story right now with the same sharp honesty you apply everywhere else. Not to dismantle yourself, not to take on blame that does not belong to you, but to see whether there is a part of the narrative that has stopped being descriptive and started being prescriptive. A story that once explained the past is now creating the future. When you can see that happening, when you can identify the part of the story that has become a limitation rather than an explanation, you have real power to rewrite it. The story is not who you are. It is what you believed when you were trying to make sense of what hurt. You have the right and now the wisdom to write a new version. Sign 8. You notice yourself doing the same thing and expecting a different result. This is the sign that is hardest to admit and the most important to see. There is something you are still doing, a behavior, a choice, a pattern of response that has never produced the result you are looking for. And yet you keep doing it, not out of stupidity or stubbornness, but out of deep familiarity. It is what you know. It is the response that comes automatically, almost before you are aware you are doing it. And when the unknown feels overwhelming, the familiar, even a familiar disappointment, can feel safer than the risk of something genuinely new. For Sagittarius, this can look like continuing to choose partners who need to be rescued, because the role of the rescuer is one you understand and it keeps you in motion without requiring you to be still. It can look like continuing to leave situations right before they could provide security, because security has always felt a little like a cage. It can look like continuing to speak with a bluntness that pushes people away right when they are getting close, not because you want them to leave, but because closeness without an exit route feels dangerous. It can look like continuing to trust people who have demonstrated they cannot be trusted, because hope is more comfortable than the grief of accepting the limitation. The specific behavior is less important than the pattern of hoping that one more repetition will produce a different outcome. Hope is one of your greatest gifts. It is what makes you the eternal optimist, the one who believes in the best version of every situation and inspires others to do the same. But hope applied to a pattern that has not changed is not optimism. It is avoidance wearing optimism's clothes. It is the familiar disguised as possibility. The change that needs to happen is not out there in your circumstances. It is in here, in the choice you make the next time the familiar situation presents itself. You already know what you usually do in that moment. You can probably feel the pull of it right now just reading this. The question is whether you can choose something different this time, even when different feels uncomfortable, even when your nervous system insists that the familiar is safer. That discomfort is not danger. It is growth. It is the precise sensation of becoming someone slightly different from who you were before. And you are ready for it. Sign 9. Someone from your past has reappeared with a message you were not expecting. A person from an earlier chapter of your life has come back into your orbit. Maybe it was a direct reconnection, a message, a call, a chance encounter in a place you would not have expected to find them. Maybe it was more indirect, someone mentioning their name who had no reason to, or running across something that reminded you of them with an intensity that surprised you, or suddenly thinking about them out of nowhere with a feeling that seemed to carry more weight than simple nostalgia. Regardless of the form this reappearance took, it carries meaning. People from our past do not resurface without reason. For Sagittarius especially, where every encounter tends to carry philosophical weight, where you have always believed that the people who enter your life do so with a purpose beyond coincidence, this kind of return is never just accidental. The universe uses people the way it uses everything else, as messengers, as mirrors, as catalysts. Consider what this person represents. Not who they are now necessarily, but what they carried in the chapter of your life where they featured. What were you working through at that time? What part of yourself were you in the process of becoming or leaving behind? What was unfinished or unspoken when that connection faded? The reappearance of this person is almost always an invitation to revisit something from that period, not to relive it, not to return to who you were then, but to complete it. Maybe there is something that was left unsaid that would benefit from being said now. Maybe there is an understanding about that time in your life that you could not have reached then but can reach now. Or maybe the most important thing is simply to receive the confirmation by seeing them or thinking of them clearly, that who you were then has grown into someone genuinely different. Let the reappearance speak to you on its own terms. You do not necessarily need to act on it in the external world. The most important conversation may be entirely internal, the one where you look at what that connection meant and what its return is still asking of you. Sign 10. You are being given a second chance at something you almost gave up on. There is something in your life right now that has the shape and the feeling of a second chance. Something that is reoffering itself in a slightly different form, not because you deserve punishment through repetition, but because the timing was not right the first time, or you were not ready, or circumstances prevented the full version of the possibility from developing into what it was capable of becoming. Now conditions have shifted. Something that was closed or unavailable, or simply out of reach before is accessible again. And the part of you that had resigned itself to losing it is being asked to reconsider. For Sagittarius, second chances can feel uncomfortable in a specific way. Your instinct is always forward motion, always the new horizon, always the next chapter. Looking back, even to reclaim something genuinely good, can feel like going backward. You pride yourself on not needing to revisit what is done, on the ability to release and keep walking. But a second chance is not going backward. It is the universe offering a correction, a do-over that arrived at exactly the moment you became capable of handling it differently. The question is not whether the second chance is real. Clearly is. You can feel its reality, or you would not have felt the pull of it strongly enough to notice it in the first place. The question is whether you are willing to show up for it differently than you did the first time. Not defensively, not with one foot already pointing at the exit, not with the protections you built up after the first disappointment, but genuinely, openly, with the willingness to be in it rather than just near it. What would you do differently? What did you know now that you did not know then? What would you be willing to commit to this time that you held back before? These are the questions worth sitting with honestly, not quickly, but with the full depth that Sagittarius is capable of when it chooses to stop moving long enough to genuinely reflect. Because the second chance that is waiting for you right now is not a trap. It is not the universe asking you to humiliate yourself by returning to something that failed. It is offering a genuine opening on better terms at a better time to someone who has done enough growing to deserve it. And Sagittarius, more than any sign, was built to walk through open doors. Sign 11. Something inside you has finally said enough. There is a voice that has been getting louder for a while now. Not an angry voice. Not a desperate one. Not the voice of someone who has run out of options. Just a clear, calm, firm voice that says, I am not doing this anymore. Not in this way. Not with this amount of compromise. Not at this cost to myself. If you have been hearing that voice lately, sitting quietly beneath the noise of your daily life, know that it is not impatience or arrogance or giving up. It is something much more significant than any of those things. It is the sound of a Sagittarius who has finally reached the end of a tolerance that was extended too long and stretched too thin. Your sign is generous. You believe in giving people and situations every possible chance. You have a remarkable and often underappreciated capacity to keep the faith even when the evidence is thin, to maintain your optimism even when circumstances repeatedly fail to support it, to stay in the game long past the point where others would have walked away. But even Sagittarius has a limit. And when that limit is genuinely, authentically reached, something in you does not collapse or rage. Simply knows. It goes quiet in a way that is different from the numbness you recognize and different from the shutdown you have visited before. This is a different quality of quiet, one that comes with a sense of direction rather than a sense of absence, of knowing exactly where you are not going anymore, even before you fully know where you are going next. There is a dignity to this particular silence, a sovereignty in it that feels new and clean. That inner shift from tolerating to releasing, from enduring to deciding, is one of the most powerful movements available to a human being. It is the moment the cycle stops, not because circumstances forced it to stop, not because someone else made the decision for you, but because you decided, because you chose from the deepest and most honest part of yourself that the version of you who kept accepting what was not working, who kept arriving at the same place and calling it progress, is no longer in charge. That decision is the real end of the pattern. The external world will take time to catch up, but the pattern itself ends the moment the internal decision is made. And that moment is now. If this message resonated with your sign, trust that it is not a coincidence. When the universe wants to speak to you, it always sends exactly the right signal, and you are here because you needed to hear this today. Your support as a subscriber or as a member of this community is what keeps these messages alive. They are the messages that touch, awaken, and transform. If this video made sense to you, leave in the comments the day you were born. Breaking a pattern is not a single dramatic moment. It is not one conversation, one decision, one boundary drawn in the sand that makes everything different immediately. It is a series of smaller choices made over and over again, in the direction of something genuinely different. It is the choice to stay when you would normally leave, the choice to look clearly when you would normally look away, the choice to speak the harder truth when the easier one would preserve the peace, the choice to receive what is being offered when your instinct is to deflect it. Made consistently over time, these smaller choices become the substance of a new life. And what makes a Sagittarius capable of doing this work is not willpower. It is not gritting your teeth and muscling through the discomfort. It is something deeper and more reliable than that. It is the philosophy of your sign, the part of you that has always believed life is supposed to mean something, that your journey has a shape and a direction that matters, that the patterns you carry are not your destiny but your curriculum. You did not come here to live the same story twice. You came here to take what the repetition was trying to teach you and use it to build something that actually holds, something that matches the full scale of who you are rather than the smaller version of yourself that the pattern was designed to keep in place. The 11 signs you recognized in this reading are not accusations. They are not evidence that you have failed or that you are fundamentally limited. They are a map, drawn by the part of you that knows exactly what needs to change and has been waiting for the right moment to make itself understood. That moment is now. Not because the stars lined up perfectly, not because everything is suddenly in order, but because you can see it, because you are asking the right questions, because somewhere between the first sign and the last, something shifted in how you are looking at your own story. And for Sagittarius, that shift in perspective is everything. Your sign changes its life not by waiting for the right circumstances but by changing the angle from which it sees. The archer does not aim from the same position every time. The archer adjusts, finds the right stance, takes a breath, and then releases, not with the force of desperation, but with the precision that comes from finally understanding the target. You understand it now. The pattern is visible. The cycle is recognized. And recognition, for someone as philosophically alive as you are, is always where the turning begins. Go.